Hey everyone, Eric here, and I am with Eddie, who has been, how long have you been with us?
Since March, and it is now September.
Nice.
So I don't know how to do the math, but 6 months.
And this is our Back Friday assistant style.
Intern style. So Eric, was Produce Like a Pro your first internship in the music industry, or first kind of experience like in the actual music world?
No, actually, so I did a bunch of internships starting from when I was in high school. I actually started at a record label, Epitaph, and I was with them for a year. And then through that experience, I realized I didn't want to be as much in the office, because that was more, you know, it's a label, right? It's a lot of work to do in the office on your computer, and I knew I wanted to be more music focused, like in the music.
Right.
And then that's when I realized, oh yeah, there's people behind the curtain. There's the production teams, producers, assistants, engineers, and I started learning more about that and started looking more into it. Then started finding other stuff and eventually landed at Produce Like a Pro with Warren. Well, actually, I started with Warren right before Produce Like a Pro started. And since then, well, here I am.
And you knew from a young age that you wanted to do music?
Yes. Started playing guitar at 8, dropped it, picked it back up. Then I was like, I want to be a rock star. And that's been the focus ever since then. And then I realized, well, when the older I got and I was realizing I also need a career. So I like playing music. I love music. Why not have a career in music? And then that's when the internships started. So you're entering your senior year of college.
Right.
What about yourself in finding your placement in the music world? Is this also your first internship?
Yes, and I couldn't have asked for a better internship. When I first got to university, I kind of made a promise to myself. I was like, okay, by next summer, I want to have something really cool lined up. Otherwise, I'm going to go back to like bussing tables or whatever. And I made it happen. I exceeded my own expectations, so I'm really proud of myself for that. And I get to do all this cool stuff with Produce Like a Pro. And this is my first internship, my first kind of music industry experience. And it's been a lot of fun going behind the scenes. And we're here at Sweetwater and getting to meet all the people that you see on the YouTube screen, like Warren and countless others. So it's been a total trip for me, and I'm having a lot of fun.
So you've been with us for just a few months, and so far, what do you think is the biggest thing you've picked up, that you've learned?
It's been great meeting all the wonderful producers and engineers that we work with Produce Like a Pro. But I think the biggest kind of lesson for me was when I got to track guitar for the Cure video that we did. That was one of the first experiences I had playing like as a session player, and getting to work with Warren was a really great learning opportunity. And I felt like I was thrown into the fire, and I came out and was able to successfully play a really hard guitar part. So I'm proud of myself for that. And I appreciate the opportunity to kind of learn guitar in that studio intense environment. That was one of my favorite experiences so far.
Yeah, definitely kind of, it was a grind of getting the performance rather than just like, let's do 3 takes and just use that, edit it, whatever. Instead, it was more like, you could do better, you could get that more on. Oh, try playing it like this, right? And like that was, even for me, just sitting at Pro Tools, it's really cool overhearing and watching the process.
Yeah.
And learning. Yeah,
I was nervous at first, but I pulled it off. I think it just goes to show that we're capable of doing it if we really try our hardest. And yeah, I'm really proud of that video. What advice would you give to young people looking for a career in music?
Definitely put yourself out there. Don't wait for an opportunity or think that an opportunity is just going to come out of thin air. Definitely work for it and don't give up. There's so many times where you won't hear, like for instance, my whole story of sending out all those emails and tons and tons of emails, pages of Google, and sending out all those emails, and no one got back to me except for Warren. And I almost didn't even send the email to Warren because he was the most qualified of the selection. And totally remember just sitting there and being like, oh, this guy's not going to back to me, looking at Warren's page, but why not? And sure enough, that's the one that got back to me. And, it's even throughout the internship process, it's, working in the studio, it's not all fun and games. It's hard work. There's ups and downs, but through all the downs, I never give up. I just power through, and that's like the biggest thing to do as an intern is not give up, power through, learn from all the mistakes, because there's going to be tons of mistakes. I'm still making mistakes, and I think I, for one, learned the best from those mistakes. So just keep learning, don't give up, and make the opportunities. Don't wait for them to just come out of thin air. So far with us at Produce Like a Pro, what is the most memorable thing that's happened?
I think at Warren's book release party, there was the concert that Bob Clearmountain was mixing, and I was helping with the cameras, but I was also enjoying the concert. And I remember it was really loud, and you kept telling me something, and I had no idea. I had no idea what you were trying to tell me. And I think finally you just yelled in my ear, "Tom Morello." And I looked over, and Tom Morello was just kind of chilling and listening to the music.
He was like 2 people away from you.
Right. And then at the end of the concert, it got kind of wild, and they started inviting people up on stage. And I remember we got to go up and do the last song. Everyone was up on stage, the last song with Tom Morello. That was a pretty crazy night. I remember bragging a lot about that afterwards. I think that's definitely one of the greatest Produce Like a Pro moments for me so far.
And then you look across the stage through the control room, and there's Bob Clearmountain in front of the console mixing it all live and just like, what the heck?
Right. And I was still new at the time, so everything was like wow.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
So I know a discussion for a lot of up-and-comers trying to get into the business is, should they have an internship or not, or how to get started. This being your first internship, how do you think your skill set has grown?
I mean, I always watched the channel before I was with Produce Like a Pro, but being able to actually partake in it, I feel like I'm learning so much more, getting to actually sit there in person with Warren, with all the producers. And it's just such a privilege to be able to ask them questions and get direct feedback. And that's something I really appreciate. And just being able to sit in the rooms and watch Warren and all the other great producers work in real time, I feel like that's such a valuable experience that I really can't take for granted, because so many other people would love to have that. And so I really do try to sit there and absorb. And something I've really picked up from on this internship is being able to talk to all the producers that we work with Produce Like a Pro, watch their mixing process and how they set up microphones. I really learned that it's all up to each producer's discretion. There's no one way to do things. And I think we were talking about that earlier, how they'll just set up microphones and listen. It's less about, reading the book and you have to do it this way and this way. That's something I really learned, is that if it sounds good and if you can make it sound good, then it works. And that's something I really picked up on with this internship.
That was, I think just yesterday, we were talking about the drum miking, and you had mentioned so I'm starting to pick up that there's no rules.
Right.
And that's the thing that's always mentioned, is there are no rules in how you mic something, recording. I mean, there's a way to mic something, but there's no exact rules.
Right.
You have to use this mic on this instrument, or you have to have it like this or whatever. It's just make it sound good, and make it sound make a snare sound like a snare.
Right. And I've seen 20 different drum mic setups since I've been with Produce Like a Pro, and each one is different.
Yeah.
And they're all just as good as the other. And I think that it's been really interesting to see that whole process work. And I think it also gives me confidence as a budding young musician, producer, whatever I'll become, to watch that and kind of be like, okay, maybe I can do this on my own.
Right.
So Eric, you've been with Warren for almost 10 years now. What have been your biggest 3 takeaways from working with Warren and Produce Like a Pro for so long?
There's so much I've from the 10 years. There's so many little things. I'll give you a little bit more than 3 things, because I think these are a couple of things that actually will help in little lessons I picked up that'll probably help everyone. So mainly, repeating myself, but it's just a big thing, is work ethic. You just got to have that work ethic, and don't give up, don't stop. Be in there. This is a lot of hard work that comes with this kind of work. It's not all fun and games. You got to be prepared for that. And within the work, there's still fun. So there's not, I'm not saying that there's no fun. What ties in with having a great work ethic is being reliable. You've got to be reliable. Starting as an intern, you get your first projects, and you've got to show that you can take those projects and you can meet the deadlines and you can do a great job. And maybe you're not going to start off as hot editing a video or dialing in the gain structure or editing a drum kit. But that's the learning experience that you pick up. As long as you're showing that you're willing to learn and you're hungry for it. Another thing I've learned is studio etiquette. You start to learn when to talk, when not to talk, when you can ask those questions, and when to just sit back and just observe and learn and write down notes, how to interact with the artist, how to be out of the way enough. And when you see, a microphone start to tilt over, knowing when to kind of slide in there. No one has to know about it. Just knowing how you kind of slide in there and fix it. And you don't even have to be trying to get brownie points telling the producer who you're working for, like, hey, I fixed this. Just, it's part of the job. It comes with it. Just do what you know is the right thing to do. Don't be afraid. Take initiative.
I'm definitely still learning professionalism and etiquette, and I appreciate every little pointer that you give me because it is a totally new world to enter, and there is a lot to learn. And I appreciate having you as my kind of intern mentor, I guess.
It's weird because 10 years ago I was at your position, at your age, and like picking it up. And yeah, it's bizarre now as time's passed that I'm like teaching, but I'm happy to do it. It's awesome. I love it. It's cool. Mm-hmm. I'm glad things are going good. So that's episode 1 of this Assistance Fact Friday. There might be more.
Okay.
Why not? Why not? We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed. Please ask questions down below. I go through all those questions. I grab those questions. I really do. So ask as many questions as you can down below so I can grab them. And start asking Warren those questions, Joe Carroll those questions. We'll probably take some questions. And till then, we'll see you in the next episode.